today's episode of On the Ropes with Josh Shernoff, I sit down with Jacob Fatu. Later, I shine a future star spotlight on Barrett Brown. Right now, Jacob Fatu is on the ropes. All right, I am joined now by the MLW World Heavyweight Champion, Jacob Fatu. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me. We'll get right into it. Obviously, you are a part of a wrestling dynasty, the Samoan dynasty, if you will. At what point did you know that you were going to be a professional wrestler?
Man, I believe Knox Pro Academy. I was trained by my uncle Rikishi, my dad's older brother. My father's the Tonga kid. Mm-hmm. Also wrestled as one half of the Islanders with Haku back in the late 80s. But I was trained in Los Angeles at Knox Pro Academy. My uncle Rikishi, Gangrel, my uncle the Count of California Black Pearl. Mm-hmm. But it was about like 6-7 years ago, man. I just gave it a shot. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like you said, man, we grew up around it. Yeah. But not knowing we was really growing up around it, you know. But I really gave it a shot, man, and I just found out, you know, I was one of the very few family members, because believe it or not, there's a lot of other family members in the Fatu Anawai family that has tried, but
well, that's the thing. Like, I think, you know, a lot of fans might look at it and wonder, is this something where, you know, you're 2 years old and you're being told, and one day you're going to be a pro wrestler because that's what we do in this family. Yeah. Was it something that you?
It was not. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
No, yeah, it was never really just them. I mean, believe it or not, the family's never really pushed the business on us at all. And I'm talking about Roman, never been pushed on the Usos. I mean, but you know. Excuse me, the Usos actually have another story, you know, with my uncle Umaga taking them in, but it never been pushed on me before. You know, man, this was something that I really tried, and I wasn't doing nothing at the time. Man, I was a young father at the time, and I literally was bouncing for $60, man, a night. Wow. You know, and I gave it a shot. My uncle Rikishi's son had actually gave me a call. The Usos brother, but he, you know, once again he tried, but he's not doing no more. And he told me to come check it out. And man, I didn't really learn. I start to respect it, really respect the business, man. My first 2 weeks of training. And then, man, just because we grew up in it, I thought it was going to come easy. I thought it was going to come this, but, man, brother, I didn't get no special treatment at all. So,
when I was a young kid thinking that I could be a wrestler, I went and trained at the Wild Samoan Training Center. Yeah, I remember. And we talked about that.
Lance, Calvin has a problem with you, man. Yeah. All right, the cameraman. He's going to kick your ass one day, Lance.
No. I think Calvin stopped growing and Lance just continued to grow, so I think at this point. But I know how just being a student there, the family atmosphere that was there, but also, man, they didn't go easy. They did not go easy on us. So I have to imagine, having never trained under Rikishi, but I have to imagine that A, same mindset, B, your family, they're not going any easier on you. In fact, they're probably going twice as harder.
And you know, I had a big part with that was Gangrel. Gangrel's like family too, man. The Vampire Warrior, David Heath. Shout out to you, Unc. You know, I'm tapped in. He also got a wrestling school, the Gangrel Wrestling Asylum out there in Florida. So yeah, man, it was especially him. It was really. He was because he was damn near in there every day with us. My first 2 years, he was grizzled. He was still on the scene, coming in, coming out, and man, he played a very big part in me coming up in the first couple years. Absolutely.
Your physical appearance, the gear that you wear, your hair, the way it is very reminiscent of Umaga.
My dad's younger brother, Eki Fatu, yes.
Is that coincidental, your family, hey, we just kind of look the same, we wear that similar traditional Samoan wrestling gear, or is that something that you kind of said, hey, I want to pay homage to him?
Yeah, well, I mean, the barefoot was kind of, you know, trying to set myself apart from the Usos and them. It's crazy, believe it or not, I could work with no shoes. I can't train with no shoes, though. It's weird like that, yeah. But, nah, man, this, definitely with the tights, it really pay homage to the ones who started off in Sika and everything. I know Umaga had did it, you know, had brought it back, but I think
the Wild Samoan head shrinkers, the Samoan
SWAT team.
Yeah, exactly.
And I got cousin Usos, Roman right there, and I'm just trying to set myself apart from them. You know, I mean, still represent, hold it down for the family, but man, just trying to set my own lane. And you know, when people think about the Samoan dynasty, you know, I want my name to come up for what I've done and you know what I was taught to do, and actually, shit, man, what I love to do. So,
and it's interesting because you're saying about setting yourself apart, and you kind of visually represent the history of the family more so than, like you said, the Usos and Roman Reigns and their physical, you know, the gear that they're wearing and the look that they're having. And I really think that works for you because people see it and they get their memory, whether it was the Wild Samoans or it was the Samoan SWAT team or the Head Shrinkers, whatever it was, or Umaga. Everybody looks at that and they're all, somebody, whatever generation is looking going, oh, we got one of the Samoans coming out here and they're going to whoop someone's ass. You know?
It's like when the old throwback NFL jerseys came back, you know, everybody was on it. So, man, it's just me trying to set myself. And also, I got other two cousins, Lance on Hawaii out here on the East Coast, and the Usos, Rikishi's youngest son, Sefa Fatu as well. And, you know, he was just, the problem. He looked like his brothers. And, you know, man, I think we all tied into this great family. But, you know, man, we all just trying to grind. And, you know, to let it be known for real, and I'll say this into the camera, man, we ain't riding off for nothing. You know, it's been a long time coming, and it's only the beginning, you know, if that make any sense for y'all out there, you know.
And that's something I actually wanted to talk about. You say not riding off anything. Obviously coming into, you know, I've talked to a number of second generation, third generation wrestlers. And we always talk about it always comes back to that added pressure that, hey, maybe you can get, you know, maybe someone's going to take an extra look at you because of the family you're from. But that pressure is so much more than that, other, you know, because you have some, I'd say big shoes to fill, but there aren't that many shoes worn by some of the people, but big footprints to step into. Is that something that you obviously that's something you're conscious of. Is it something that you take that is difficult for you, or is that something that you take pride in and that pushes you harder?
Absolutely. I mean, man, brother, this goes to in the ring, out the ring. You know, back in the day, they'd have social media. I mean, just everything, every move I make, you know, I represent the family. I represent my kids, just represent the whole dynasty, the whole bloodline. So, yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, I know there's a lot of young cats in the business that will actually kill, man, to be in my position. And, you know, I'm just very thankful for that. I really am, man. So to be a part of this and really represent for them every day, no matter what I'm doing, if I'm doing interviews or out there performing or just even now when people, you know, see me or anything. So absolutely, man, I love it, man. There's no other family, I mean, for now, you know, that, I mean, I couldn't see myself in any other way. But I am very, very thankful and grateful. You know, like I said, this goes back to a lot of young, hard-working cats out there just like myself, man, still out there grinding, getting it, grinding. And, you know, for me to, because like you said earlier, for me to be a part of the family, yeah, there is going to, okay, he was a part of the family, okay, let's check him out, let's tap in with him and see what this cat all about, you know. But once again, I'm trying to set myself apart. Not apart, but you know what I'm saying, brother, trying to make my own lane.
There's no, like, the way I've talked about this with other people in the past who I think in an interview with Brian Pillman Jr. we were talking about, and I had said to him, you know, your father may have been here. There's no reason you have to be going here. You can also be there on a completely different way.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's, you know, and then the sky's the limit. Still to come, part 2 of my sit-down interview with Jacob Fatu. When we return, I'll shine a future star spotlight on Barrett Brown. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the show. This is a different type of Future Star Spotlight because of everything that's going on in the world. I'm glad we were finally able to sit down and do this remotely. I am here now joined by Barrett Brown. Barrett, thank you so much for taking the time here.
Oh, for sure, man. I appreciate you having me on here. It's good to see another face during this whole quarantine phase, man. So this is kind of a good little switch up.
Absolutely. So we'll jump right into it. You're not, you know, sometimes we'll have people who are just starting out in this Future Star Spotlight. What was really cool about getting you on here is you're really not. I mean, you're not just starting out. You have a lot of experience. You've been all over the place, but you're still trying to make that name for yourself. So can you tell us a little bit about where you've been, what you've done, and what you're doing right now?
For sure. So, I mean, I pretty much started training where I grew up, a small town called 7 Points, Texas. Primarily trained under Killer Tim Brooks, and then from there, just the road became my trainer. Hitting all these seminars and all this stuff. Started when I was 15 years old. I'm 26 now, so my entire adult life has been spent in this business. And over the last 10 years, man, I've pretty much been from coast to coast. Wrestled I held the MLW World Junior Heavyweight Championship. Technically, still am. Technically, the final one. Whatever you want to say about that title. So that was cool. I've been to London twice so far. I had my debut for New Japan Pro Wrestling in Anaheim, California last December. A few stints on WWE programming. So it's just, if you would have asked me when I was 15 years old starting out if I would have done all this by the time I was 26 years old, I would have called you crazy. It's just a small-time kid with a big dream happened to make some of his dreams come true. So
what you mentioned, all the places that you've been, where are you based right now? I mean, you're still in Texas, correct?
Right. So, I'm based. The town is called Maybank. It's like an hour south of Dallas, and I have my own training facility. Actually, like if I look over here, I could walk through a door. I live where my training facility is. So I have a lot of guys based in the DFW area that will sometimes come down and hang out and train and stuff like that down here. So I've got a pretty nice little setup, man. So I'm always able to hit the ring and, stay in shape, stay in ring shape, and just hone my craft here.
Yeah, and ring shape, obviously very different than just being in shape. I think there are a lot of people that are going to be jealous during this quarantine time. Jealous of the fact that you're still able to get that ring time, because I know so many people are just dying to get back into the ring at this point.
Sure.
So training, everything, what is your, as we like to ask on the show, what's your shoot job? What are you doing in the meantime, or are you able to at this point make a living purely off of wrestling?
So it's funny, the whole quarantine thing really didn't affect me shoot job wise. I actually work for family at a construction job. I work for my grandparents, and they're such big fans of the business that anytime I need off for anything to travel, they're good with it.
That was going to be my next question. Yeah. How you managed to pull that off. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So
because that is
unfortunate.
That is a difficult thing for a lot of people who are trying to make their name in this business, and you get an opportunity for a booking somewhere, even across the country or out of the country, you want to be there. So that's great that you have that opportunity. Where are you right now seeing yourself? Obviously, we're in such a weird time right now. It's kind of any game plan you may have had is right off the bat could be pushed back 6 months, right? And everybody is chomping at the bit to get that booking when they return. What is your game plan moving forward? I guess we'll start by asking, what is your end goal? Do you have a place where you want to be? Is it more of a financial stability throughout wrestling? What is your long-term goal in the wrestling business?
My long-term goal has always been, in some way, shape, or form, to leave the business better than it was when I came in. And to do that, I wanted to make a name for myself. And slowly I've done that, around the South, but I want to expand that. And primarily, I've wanted New Japan Pro Wrestling to be my home. I've spent a lot of time out in California at the New Japan dojo there under Katsuri Shibata. And just the quarantine thing, it's horrible in a sense I could have had other opportunities with New Japan after the whole Anaheim thing in December. It's just everything is on hold now, so I'm kind of in the dark as far as that goes. I had a booking I was excited for with Jonathan Gresham that may be pushed back indefinitely because of this too. So, but long-term wise, man, I want to make a name for myself that people will remember, and I want to leave a lasting legacy, and I just want the business to be better when I'm gone than when it was when I came in. So
you mentioned being 26 years old, starting at 15. And I can relate to that. I began wrestling when I was 15 as well. And
and ended about 11 years ago. So, this hurts a lot less. But the question that I have is, at this point, it's rare that you find a 26-year-old who's an 11-year veteran in the business. Has that helped you? When you started at 15, how did you start exactly? Did you maybe were you self-trained? Did you get trained by somebody who maybe taught you the wrong things that you had to fix as time went on? Or have you kind of just been in it and just honing your craft this whole time?
So I was trained by someone that actually graduated with my parents. His name was Cody Cunningham. He was just a small-time independent worker. Just taught me the bare basics, and he, I won't say he was a bad trainer at all. I mean, he actually taught me the fundamentals that I still use today. He just wasn't a very big name, but he taught me enough that I was able to carry into schools like Killer Tim Brooks, or even when I went to Johnny Mantell, or any seminars that I attended, I knew just enough that I could show them that I knew what I was doing and that they would take me under their wing and teach me more advanced techniques. Like, they knew that I cared about it. It was just, I think that the first day I stepped into Cody's school, it was kind of like, okay, this kid will come in, I'll take his parents' money, beat him up, and then send him home. But it was like, okay, he actually cares about this, So, and like I said, man, just after that, it was pretty much the road that trained me. So,
yeah, I mean, there's nothing like getting that experience out there in front of a crowd, on the road. Depending on who you're traveling with, sometimes the greatest lessons you can learn are in the car, not even in the ring. So at this point in your career, obviously, your goal is to leave it better than you found it, which is a great goal to have. And you want a greater involvement with New Japan. Would you consider moving to Japan? There's so many people from America who have made a name for themselves in Japan who have just moved there, or are you more focused on the hey, I'll do the long-term tours, but want to keep my base here, or are you just kind of open to everything?
I'm open to everything, but I would want to lean towards staying here for now and doing the long-term tours there. A good buddy of mine, Andy Dalton, he did a 3-month stay at the Noah Dojo a few years ago, and that was something that I was really jealous of him about, because I wanted to know, how that culture is there by living there. And just being at the dojo in LA, I got a taste of that, and I was like, man, I would love to go there, but as far as living there, I would have to get a taste first, because I'm not sure about that. I think
it's a big change, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, man, being in London was a culture shock enough, but as far as Japan goes, that would be out of this world.
How long were you in London?
So the first tour was just a few days. We made a full week out of it this last year whenever we went. Only one show, but the promoter actually took us around, showed us downtown, and we actually got to see the sights. But to me, it was a lot of fun, but it was one of those situations where you go for a while, then after 3 days, you're kind of like, okay, this is cool, but I kind of want to go home now. Like, I've done what I was going to do. Kind of want to go back home now. It was just a little too much for me at one time.
Now, people who know you are familiar with you in the ring, they know who you are. People who have maybe never heard of you before, and that's kind of the goal of this show, to take people who are locally are creating a name for themselves, maybe even, the states surrounding where they are creating a name for themselves. On the other side of the country, somewhere else in the world, maybe nobody's ever heard of you before.
Right.
Not a knock on you. That's just the way that this world works.
Sure.
What is the number one thing that you would want if someone's watching for the first time, and we're trying to convince them right now to go look up some of your matches? What is that thing that you can, just through talking to that audience right now who's watching, and say, this is why you should check me out. This is why you should start right now following my career, because I'm going to go somewhere.
I would say just the pure passion that I have for this. Like, I think that this business truly saved my life back in the day, and I'm a firm believer that I don't owe this business I owe this business everything. It doesn't owe me a thing, but I owe it my life. And every time I step into the ring, I always remember that, and I always want to give back. So I think that anyone that watches me, they will see the pure passion that I have for it, and that I will give it everything that I have every single time I step in that ring. Whether there's 5 people in the crowd or 10,000, you're going to get every bit of passion that I have for this business.
Do you have a specific style that you enjoy working the most? Obviously, there's, mat style, there's high flying, there's various different styles. Do you have one that you would say, this is the style when I see I'm across the ring from so and so, I know for a fact this is going to be the one I'm going to want to put on a highlight reel because this is my style of match?
I think it's a hybrid of I love the mat style stuff because that's pretty much all we do at the dojo. The mat style stuff, but I'm very big on the intensity. I'm not super big on lucha style. I have a lot of fun doing it, but it's not me. I'm more of mat wrestling technician mixed with a little bit of the strong style stuff, and I can get kind of spotty if I need to as well. So just a fine mix of those 3 is primarily what you'll see out of my matches.
And last thing here before I let you go, again, I love the fact that you started when you were 15. Like I said, I can relate to that. But you also mentioned how wrestling saved your life. Starting out so young, what, if there's any story you're comfortable being able to tell us about how you feel wrestling was able to kind of do that, and what made you, and obviously it sounds like you've had tremendous support from your parents, what made you say at 15 years old, not because a lot of 15-year-olds say, when I grow up, I'm going to be a wrestler. Right. Not a lot of 15-year-olds say, I'm doing it now. So what was it that did that, and in what way, whatever you're comfortable sharing, what way do you feel that wrestling was able to save your life?
So the biggest way was when I was younger. When I was in kindergarten, I basically got pneumonia due to some insulation in our old house, and I was told it almost killed me, but I got through it. But the medicine that I had, a side effect gave me a very large appetite, and so I became a very overweight child. And man, I just wanted to eat everything. I had no aspirations to hang out with anybody. I was a very isolated kid when I was younger, and I had no passions other than just staying at home, playing video games, doing nothing else. But I discovered professional wrestling, and I was like, oh wow, I felt it made me feel something that I had never felt before. And that feeling growing up, it never left. And I was like, well, if I'm going to do that, I need to get in better shape. And so I started working out and tried to eat better. And then just slowly over time, I got in better shape. And that fire never left for professional wrestling. And then when I was 13, I told my parents, I said, this is what I'm going to do when I grow up. I said, this is what I'm going to do. And I was like, this is not a phase. This is who I want to be. And they told me, if that's true, then we'll support you 100%. And then from there was whenever my mom got in contact with Cody, my original trainer. And when I was 15, he agreed. Even though I was underage for his school, he said he would give me a shot. And it's just, the rest is history, man. And to this day, that fire that I had when I was so young, just that introverted little kid, it's never died down, man. I feel like it's only burned hotter ever since.
And I'm sure during this quarantine period, it's just burning even hotter than before just to get back out there and do something. It has been a pleasure talking to you. It's great to be able to talk to somebody that is filled with so much passion for this business, that is enjoying their journey. And I always say it's not about destination, it's about the journey. Destination is great. You want to get there, you want to make sure you get there, but it is really this journey that you seem to be enjoying so much. Wish you nothing but the best, continued success. I'm looking forward to following your career. Can you tell everybody where they can follow you on social media, where they can find you?
You can find me on Facebook, obviously. My Twitter handle is TCO_BarrettB. I'm on Instagram at Barrett Brown TC1. And, as soon as all this stuff opens back up, I'll have dates plastered everywhere. So I try and get content out as much as possible. So on all those platforms, you can find what I'm doing.
All right, great. Thank you so much for being on the ropes with us.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
When we return, part 2 of my interview with Jacob Fatu. We'll be right back. you know, like we talked about, the people who came before you and your family. Obviously, so many stars.
Man.
But if you really do think
about it, man, I'm sorry, man. Yeah,
no,
Yoko.
We could spend an hour just naming the people.
Yeah.
But one thing that stands out, we talked about the Usos, we talked about Roman Reigns, talked about, we have Rikishi, we have everyone. Everyone, if you really look at it, has gone their own way. They do have their own personality, their own character, and I think you do as well. And anyone who has not seen Jacob Fatu, you are doing yourself a disservice. You're missing out.
Appreciate that.
One of the things, one of the first times, Calvin, who's manning the camera here, and myself.
Shout out to Calvin, man.
Shout out to Calvin, who's gonna get in that fight with Lance one of these days. It's gonna happen. We're booking it now. Fight TV. We don't know where. Maybe MLW do it. But yeah, so one of the first experiences we had with MLW, we had told you earlier, was watching you, and you were definitely one of the parts of a stacked card that made us just go, oh man, this is something good. And
it's been a year.
Yeah, and at no point and this goes back to everything we were saying. At no point did we look at you and we went, oh man, he's just like whatever family member. Yeah. No, you stood out. And something I'm curious about is, what do you do when you have all that? What do you do to make yourself stand out?
Oh man, obviously, man, we was a big fan of the Hardy Boys and Tajiri. Like, man, like I'm a little all over, but it wasn't really just the moves and everything. It was more of the look, what I was gonna wear and everything. But man, I was just a big fan of high flying, man, and it's real trippy, man, because it was just a couple days ago. I was talking to my partner Joseph Samael. A couple days ago, man, I was looking like, damn, man, like I'm really moving around all that weight, but I don't feel it. But it's crazy because people, they trip out on it. But man, being big fans of high flying, man, always Shane McMahon bumps, all the stuff off the cage. I mean, even when Uncle Kishi had jumped off the cage, No Mercy, man, that was one of my highlights when I was young on the Val Venus. And man, it was man, just being a big fan of high flying, man. I knew that was gonna set me apart. Once I started doing all this stuff, I knew it was gonna set me apart because my cousin Usos, they high fly too, but we just high fly like a little bit more different. You know what I'm saying? And
when they come out, you might look at them and see high flyers.
Yeah.
When you come out, you look and you're gonna bulldoze through somebody, which you do. You absolutely do. And then on top of that, I'll just do a moonsault while I'm here. Like it's, I hurt myself getting up out of this chair and you're flipping off things. What's something, if you had to look at your career, first of all, how long have you had mentioned something with your training, how long have you actually been from your first match to now? How long has it been?
Bro, I think it's, I was actually going, I always thought it was 7.5 years. My wife was actually, no, man, it's actually 6.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's 6.5 years, and it was 6.5 years in this past September.
Which is, in real life, a long time. In this business, I feel like it's not.
It's not.
You're still you're still really in the beginning here.
A lot of people think I'll be ribbing them too when I be telling them, but I mean, man, you go back when I first started. I remember my first run-in, man, and I was nervous, man. But yeah, it was like 6.5 years ago, Knox Pro Academy, man. But man, this past year's been a hell of a ride, man.
Oh yeah.
With MLW, shout out to Court Brower, MSL, and everybody, man, for making this happen. The whole Contra unit, all the fans out there, from the Contra unit, from the War Beasts to the Samoan Dynasty. My partner Joseph Samael, also known as Sheik. Man, he's been a very, very important, big part of my career, man, ever since I met him. Believe it or not, man, we was actually about to fight each other when we first met each other.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't like me. I didn't like, but man, I don't know what it is. It's just something about us, man. But overall, man, he really took care of me, man. He's a playmaker, man, and he's also been another very, very huge part, man, of what's been going on with me within the past 2.5 years. So, shout out to Us. He got his own company out there, PCW Ultra in Los Angeles. And yeah, man, it's been a hell of a year, man. And that's cool, man. I remember talking to you guys earlier. You guys were telling me about last year. That was actually our debut here at MLW.
Yeah.
And it just all ended up working together, man, with Quan. Quan, man, hope you get better, man. He's out right now from a leg injury, but man, we also linked up with Gotch as well too. So it's weird, man, to have all of us come together, and actually we all got love for each other. You know, man, we all work together, and it's just been a good roll. But man, like I said, man, it's just the beginning, man.
Yeah,
it's
a huge amount of talent in the faction as well as MLW in general. So you have a lot of people to work with.
Parka, man, we had the Parka, had Filthy Tom, man. Shout out to Tom Lawler, man. He was one of the cats, man. You know, he actually won the belt on our debut here, and then everybody started growing. Yeah, it was last year. He took it from low key. I think it was Super Fight. Yeah, February last year, man. It's crazy, man. I can't forget. I can't remember what happened yesterday. But you know, in the business, we remember everything, don't we? Right?
Yeah. So 6 years ago, I remember this saying. So what did you eat for breakfast? What's something in this business that stands out to you so far in your career? Both sides of it. What's something that stood out to you as maybe one of the most challenging aspects of it? I don't want to say one of the worst things, but something that was one of the most challenging. And then on the flip side of that, what's a moment that has really stood out to you as just that moment where maybe you were in the ring, maybe you're backstage, but you're standing there going, this is exactly where I belong. This is exactly why I am sacrificing what I'm sacrificing to be here. Yeah. What was that moment?
Well, man, it was damn, what was it, man? It was our day. It was Chicago, Cicero Stadium. Well, no, there's actually two pieces, man. Chicago, they both happened in Chicago. Cicero Stadium been great too with MLW, but man, you know, to go back though, to go back, I mean, man, there's all type of stuff, man. Me and Seth, man, me and Joseph Samuel, Sheik, man, we worked PCW Ultra against the Lucha Brothers. I mean, that was real cool to get their respect, and you know, Penna and them, what they got going on. But one of them was when I came off the cage, man, at MLW for on that splash on the time, and that was one of the things like, okay, this is it. But for me to go out November 2nd, this past November 2nd, at Super Fight with one of the legend luchadors, man, L.A. Park, you know, who also know my father, and you know, I met him my first time debuting here at MLW, and after that match, you know, that hardcore match and everything, main event, Chicago, Cicero Stadium, you know, that's when it was like, okay, this is it. Okay, I really belong here. Throughout the whole year's working, it just happened last year to where it was like, okay, not saying I took anything for granted, I was just going through the motions or anything, but yeah, man, it really everything that happened here, man.
Kicked into that next gear.
Yeah, man. I mean, just learning everything, you know. I mean, it's not just the moves in the ring or anything. It's the locker room etiquette, man. It's the work, the cameras, the crowd. You know, man. It's just like Gangrel told me, man. This ain't just a job, man. This is really a lifestyle, man. Shout out to Gangrel, man. You know, we fanging and banging 24/7 with the business, baby. So yeah, man, it's really a lifestyle, man, and also just the sacrifices. Excuse me, you know, to touch bases on the sacrifices growing up, and then my father, I seen all my uncles, man, my father, everybody sacrificed this, always gone, missing birthdays, missing holidays, and you know, I think me growing up in this family, that also really helped me out a lot too, because I was seeing it all the time.
Was there a point once you started wrestling where you maybe had a different appreciation for what it is that they
absolutely.
did? And I don't even mean just in the ring, but just the sacrifices they're making away from family.
Man, brother, I thought it was gonna become easy. You know, I thought it was gonna, okay, cool. My family is good. Yeah. No, it wasn't. It wasn't, man. I really learned how to respect it, man. You know, it took a toll, man. But you know, I felt bad because not feeling bad, but it was like, okay, this is what my family been through. But even worse, because you know, nowadays I guess it's a little bit easier and stuff. But back in the days, man, I mean, they didn't have it easy at all. You know, through the training sessions and all those. So I think it's just a good time, man, and I'm real thankful, man, to just representing, just to be doing what we're doing right now.
Well, I'm thankful for you to take the time and talk with me here. I really do appreciate it. Wishing you nothing but continued success.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, you were really, man, knocking it out of the park. Huge fan.
Appreciate
and again,
it.
Thanks for coming on the show.
All good, man. I don't want to jinx them, man, but Niners, man, we finna take this Super Bowl tomorrow. And Lance, you still getting your ass kicked by Calvin, man. All right,
yeah, so one of those things is definitely going to happen. I can't be sure which one, but one of them's going to happen.
Thank you again.
Thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you to my guests. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Join us again next time for another edition of On the Roads with Josh Shernoff.